Mark here at WhiskyWhistle. Tomintoul 5 Decades Speyside Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. Is this a luxury NAS whiskey that should be on your shelf, or should you pass it up? Stay tuned for the Tomintoul 5 Decades WhiskyWhistle. Hey everybody, I'm Mark, the host here at WhiskyWhistle, your wise choice in independent whiskey and spirits reviews. Bringing you whiskey review number 255, it's Tomintoul 5 Decades. Tomintoul 5 Decades Speyside Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. Now this is right from the distillery. I won this in a Twitter contest, actually quite a while ago. They might be mad at me, I hope not. I've been really trying really hard to promote their brand. Anyway, I waited until I had enough followers, enough subscribers here on the channel, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, to make sure that this would be a worthwhile sort of a promotion for the company. Anyway, I have high expectations for this one, and in fact, two of the samples actually went to some friends in Winnipeg, and they'll hopefully be tweeting along and chatting along as we go through the tasting. Now I'll read that little note, but first let's get it poured. And I have 2 samples left. I've got 3 samples left, thank goodness. Good. All right. Now, 3 samples left. And you can see they've been wrapped especially by the distillery. And maybe you can't read that there, but it's got their own sticker there on the front of it. These look like they are 20 milliliter bottles. So that's more than enough for a nice sample of this hopefully amazing whiskey. Now, what am I going to do with these 2 other samples? By the way, this whiskey is bottled at 50% ABV. And this whiskey is commemorating the 50 years of operation of the Tomintoul distillery from 1965 to 2015. So let me just have a look here. Oh boy, lots to read. Now, only 5,230 individually numbered 5 Decades bottles have been released. And there are some specific tasting notes for each of the whiskeys that goes into this. So this 5 Decades whiskey is made from whiskeys from 1965. That's the first year it opened. 1975, that's the year I was born. 1985, 1995, and 2005. Proportions, well, probably there's a little bit more of the younger whiskeys. However, I'm sure they put enough of the original distillate in there to have a nice effect on the whiskey. Now, let me read these quickly for you. 1965. Rare and special whiskey from the very first year of distillation has been included in the 5 Decades edition. This whiskey was notable for its soft and sweet nose with hints of orange peel, fruitcake, glacé cherries, and a suggestion of spice caressed with a potpourri of rose petals and Turkish delight. Sounds great. 1975. An exceptional summer also produced exceptional whiskey at Tomintoul Distillery. The hand-picked casks from this notable year exuded great maturity with generous amounts of spice and vanilla on the nose and with discernible floral characteristics on the palate, most strikingly those of summer fruits and pear drops. Pear drops are a kind of candy that they get in the UK. I've never had pear drops before. Hopefully they taste like pear. 1985. This year faithfully represented the 1980s decade. Cold winters and temperate summers were ideal for the maturing casks of malt whiskey. The selected casks were very typical of the Tomintoul style, light but with plenty of sweetness, truly living up to the gentle dram description. 1995. To mark this decade and add rich and interesting flavors, first-rate sherry butts were painstakingly chosen. The whiskey, which had enjoyed 20 years of maturation in butts previously used to mature sherry in southern Spain, contributed raisin, plum, prune, orange zest, and fig aromas on the nose, with hazelnut, walnut, herbal, and soft sherry notes on the palate. And finally, 2005. In this year, newly distilled Tomintoul was filled into the very finest virgin American white oak barrels to mature unhurriedly for the next 10 years. This whiskey imparted wonderful vanilla, honey sweetness, and coconut flavors, backed by an oaky spice finish. Well, so that's what's in there. Now, let's hope that this all turns into something unreal. Now, this whiskey goes for £210 in the UK, up to probably £250, and it sells for as high as, I think, $600 in some countries. For example, New Zealand, $650, I think. Now then, what am I going to do with these 2 extra samples? Well, I want you to stay tuned right to the end of this video to see what's going to happen with these babies. All right? Okay, well, let's get one of these opened and poured. And maybe I should leave that up here so that everyone can see that I've got this, this whiskey up here. I don't know if I can get this back on as nicely. Yep, I did. Okay, good. There we are. Tomintoul 5 Decades, right there. Ooh, I'm very excited about this. And I'm going to choose my glass. I choose you. That is going to be the standard Glencairn. And we'll get it opened. Very excited about this. Now, Rory Wright, have you opened up your sample yet? If not, follow along. Okay, we're going to have to go all in with this one. Oh boy. Oh, I wish there was more. Well, there is more, but I have designs for those bottles, so you stay tuned. 50% ABV, huh? Look at the bubbles. You can tell ABV by the bubbles you get from at the top of the whiskey. If you get lots of bubbles, that means it's higher ABV. Now, of course, we're going to check out the color of the whiskey. Then we'll have a look at the legs of Tomintoul 5 Decades. Next, we'll check out the nose, the palate, and the finish before giving it a WhiskyWhistle Whisky Score at the end of the show. Plus, an announcement about these 2. Where will I put those? Right up here? There we go. Okay, now the color. I sure hope this is natural in color. No mention of that. Of course, it's really not that dark, although it's not that light either. But keep in mind we have some virgin American oak, fully matured whiskey in there. That's unusual. We can see virgin American oak finishes, but not so much full maturation. So what do you see there for color? Boy, to me, what do I see here? I see a nice bright golden hue, very much like a nice amber. Kind of like the amber that my grandmother would wear around her neck. Beautiful. Okay. It certainly has a lovely scent. Okay, let's check out the legs on this one. Now, this is one of these glasses of mine. Oh, crap. Oh. Mark. Well, anyway, this is one of the glasses that I've used so much that it really doesn't show the legs all that well, but we'll see how we do here as I spill more and more and more. Okay, here we go. Very slow legs to start. They're really hanging on the glass there. But then, yes, again, this glass, not the best for showing the legs for some reason. Try that one more time. Okay. Yep, drizzly slow. But yeah, boy, this glass, oh well. Should I pour it into another glass? Gosh, no, I will not do that. I'm sure this will have nice legs in the right glassware. Okay, on to the nose. Cheers all. And a big thank you to Angus Dundee, the company Angus Dundee, who own Tomintoul. They also own Glencadam, an excellent Scotch whiskey champion in Scotland. Okay, the nose. Very, very spicy. This really has an old scent about it. And I get the nuts right off the bat. And yet I also get that young coconut flavor coming through too. Now, since they've got 5 decades worth of whiskey in here, from oldest to youngest, probably rather than 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, they probably went with more like 30, 27, 23, 17, 15, down and down like that. I would guess maybe 10% of the oldest whiskey, 15% of 1975. That's my guess anyway. Now it's got a fairly closed nose here. Not as potent as I would have thought. You really have to get your nose in there to get a sense of the scent. But persistence proves fruitful. And you do get the hazelnuts, absolutely. Hazelnuts. Maybe like filberts also. Toasted coconut is coming through here for me. And vanilla, yes, vanilla. Vanilla pudding. Nutmeg, fairly big nutmeg for the amount of scent I'm getting from this. Hint of cinnamon, not much. I'm not getting any ginger here. So coconut, hazelnut, or filbert, nutmeg, a bit of cinnamon, some vanilla. I'm not getting much fruit on the nose. All right, let's check out the palate, everyone. Cheers. Now it's the palate where this is going to kick you in the teeth. Oh, this is amazing. I took the tiniest of tastes. It's got a bit of peat. Now, Tomintoul, the current version, is not known for its peat. However, the Tomintoul of old certainly has quite a bit of peat in it. And I'm going to pour that in here just to get ready to compare. This is 12 years old. But it's very, very old. This is from probably 1993, 1990. So taking the whiskey back to about 1975, 1978 in that area. Of course, there could be some older whiskeys in there. There probably is. That was the palate, wasn't it? Now there's a little bit of the sherry cask coming through here. The more I smell it, the more it comes through. And giving it that bit of time to breathe in the glass is really opening up that whiskey. Yes, a light hint of summer berries. Definitely not the dried variety. So think fresh strawberries, raspberries, some blackberries, some fresh cherries. I'll write that palate again. That bit of peatiness, along with a bit of an old school sulfur-esque type of a scent, is just rushing up my nose. The palate, however, a lot more fruit, a lot more of that berry fruitiness. The finish, wafts of peat, wafts of fruit, wafts of this coconut and nut at the same time. Vanilla is carrying quite a long while. If I dare say, this is kind of like the first incarnation of Glenmorangie Signet. Of course, it's probably got a little bit of older content in here. Well, it certainly does. I think 30 years old is the maximum that goes into the Signet. They use chocolate malt, but they also use some virgin casks, I'm sure. Anyway, there's some similarities here. As I smack my lips, I'm really getting that bit of fruit there. Some pepper, some chili powder in there. A little bit of that savory umami coming through also in the palate. Very nutty. It's nutty, it's fruity, a little bit of chocolate, milk chocolate, a little hint of cocoa also. That is just a trip and a half. Again, the finish very, very long. This is really an excellent whiskey. Very, very well made. Okay, we're going to add some water. That's 50% ABV, so I'm going to put in 1 full teaspoonful here of these teaspoons. This is about 1.5 milliliters added to 10 milliliters. So I have 5 milliliters of pure whiskey out of 11.5. Quick bit of math. All right, my handy calculator tells me that we're down to round about 43%, give or take. Might be a little bit more, depending on how much whiskey was actually in there. All right, let's check out the nose now with water added. And much more delicious whiskey scents coming through, older whiskey scents. I'm getting that nutmeg, but also some older, kind of like older polished, say, church furniture. And yet also that young whiskey in there is giving it some real nice coconut flavors. Coconut and cinnamon. Smell my coffee for a minute here. There's a hint of leather coming through there. And a little bit of that kind of liniment, sort of a oily kind of scent that you really get in very old whiskeys. Not very much though. All right, on to the palate then with water. Cheers again. Much richer, much nuttier, a little bit more very ripe fruits. Think ripe plums, dark plums. And yet it still has that little hint of peat and a little hint of that sulfur that's really making it just a very ethereal effect, ethereal kind of an experience here. It's really going all over my senses. Tiny little more sip here. I gotta leave a little bit more. Rich, spicy, delicious. A really nice balance of young and old flavors that's really putting itself into a category of luxury whiskey that I have not yet really experienced. It reminds me of that Signet, but a little bit more than that. It reminds me of a Little Mill that I tried a long while ago, but a little bit more oomph to it than that also. That could be the ABV talking, but even taking it down to 43, we're still doing excellently well with this one. All right, so the WhiskyWhistle Whisky Score for Tomintoul 5 Decades. What's that going to be? This is going to be 92 out of 100. Yes, you heard right. 92 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle Whisky Score for Tomintoul 5 Decades Speyside Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. It could have been 93, maybe even more, if there was just a little bit more action on the nose. It's very, very subtle nose. Otherwise, the palate is delicious. The finish is very long. Excellent, excellent whiskey. So I'm going to give this my second highest rating for a single malt whiskey on my channel. All right, anyway, so 92 out of 100. Excellent stuff here. Now, how about this older Tomintoul 12-year-old? You know, you get a bit of this kind of like a swimming pool scent in here. But the taste is this whiskey of yesteryear that is at the same time peaty and spicy and sweet and savory, very long lasting, very different. But you know, you have to recognize that this kind of whiskey is what whiskey tasted like when I was growing up, smelling my dad's whiskeys, my mom and dad's whiskeys in the home bar. I really recognize that scent and the flavor. And adding water to this also turns that into a spicy, sweet, slightly peaty juggernaut of a powerhouse of a malt. Now then, so that's those two there. I'm going to put that right there so I know which is which. That's on the paper. Now I'm going to pour a little bit of a few other Tomintouls here. I'm going to pour a bit of the peated Tomintoul. That's called Tomintoul with a peaty tang. Just a little bit over there. And the 25-year-old. Pour a bit of that there. Not much. I want to save some of it. And, oh, the 16-year-old. Put that right there. Just a hint. Save myself one more little taste. The 12-year-old. This one is an Oloroso finish. It says the concluding months. I guess it's probably about 6 months, and those are very, very sherry-rich sherry casks. And then we have the 10-year-old, which I'll put right here. This is fun, isn't it? Well, it's fun for me. And now this is the other distillery from Angus Dundee called Glencadam, and I'll put that right over here. Okay. So let me just go forwards first of all. The 10-year-old. Well, it has a nice nose to it, very fresh, very clean nose. Fruity with a little bit of spice. The palate is sugared, hint of fruit, very ripe fruit, almost no tartness. Nice finish. Almost too sweet for me, but if you like something very sweet, that would be a very nice whiskey for you. The Tomintoul 10-year-old. On to the 12. All right, now Tomintoul 12-year-old. Very much a similar nose, but just with that added bit of sherry influence. And a little bit more maturation, an extra 2 years. That's a really nice one. In it goes. And the 16, I've got some in there. A little bit more. That's all of it. This one has just kind of like a very well developed orchard ripe fruit type of a scent. It actually reminds me quite a lot of Irish whiskies. Very delightful. In it goes. All right, and that 25-year-old, just a hint. This one is very waxy, very chocolatey. Waxy chocolate, bit of leather. Oh, and it's got that little kick of peat in there too. Very interesting. And let's see how that old 12-year-old is doing. That swimming pool-esque scent has tamed down somewhat. And I've got just a nice peated, lightly fruity malt left here. Let's put a little bit of that in there. Such a big caramel flavor on the palate for that old Tomintoul 12-year-old. Now I want to also add a little bit of the peated Tomintoul. This is with a peaty tang, and I think they've actually reintroduced the old Ballantrae to the market. This is seriously peaty. If you can get your hands on this one with a peaty tang, I highly recommend that. Again, it's like crispy bacon with a bit of maple syrup drizzled on it. All right, let's add just a little bit of that to there. Now, what have I done here? I have mixed 10, 12, 16, 25-year-old Tomintoul's with a little bit of peated Tomintoul's, and I'm trying to recreate that 5 decades from their standard releases. Now, I won't get there because I don't have that 10-year-old virgin American oak component. But let's see how we do here. Yeah, a little more sherry, a little more oak. This one a little more to the sweet. The taste. Cheers again. That's the Tomintoul 5 Decades. Sweet, fruity, nutty, peaty. Delicious. How about my attempt to recreate that 5 decades with 2.5 decades? Well, the total of those a little bit exceeds the sum of the parts by themselves. Nearly there. It's got that little bit of peat content, but it's missing that really important American oak, and also missing that very aged Tomintoul Speyside malt content. Well, I'm going to finish this off. Cheers, everyone. So that was 92 out of 100. Now then, what are we going to do with these? Well, I think it's time for a Whiskey Whistle contest as we begin to approach 2,000 subscribers. A little ways off yet, but anyway, this contest, Tomintoul, for Tomintoul 5 Decades. The 2 winners will each win a 20 milliliter miniature of Tomintoul 5 Decades. The grand winner will also get the package that was sent from the company itself. So you'll get the package along with 1 sample. The second place winner will get the sample but no package, all right? And the contest, what's going to happen? Well, that's going to be on either Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. All you have to do is tag WhiskyWhistle in your tweets. You'll get 1 point for every tweet that I'm tagged in. All right, you can tag me, or you can hashtag WhiskyWhistle, or you can do @WhiskyWhistle in your tweet. Same with Instagram, hashtag WhiskyWhistle or @WhiskyWhistle. Okay. Facebook also, you should use the ampersand @WhiskyWhistle. Okay, is that ampersand? Whatever that's called anyway. Okay, so the that funny thing and then WhiskyWhistle. Okay, all right. So @WhiskyWhistle on Facebook. All right, and you should put in Whiskey Whistle Contest, and also you should also use the hashtag Tomintoul, and 5 decades. Okay, so a little bit complicated. Tomintoul, hashtag Tomintoul, hashtag 5 decades, hashtag Whiskey Whistle Contest. Okay, and then add me @WhiskyWhistle. I think that's probably best. You can use the hashtag too. So that'll be the contest, and that'll run until this contest will continue. All right, so that's the Tomintoul event, Tomintoul 5 Decades event, @WhiskyWhistle. All right, and again, those hashtags: hashtag Whiskey Whistle Contest, hashtag Tomintoul, hashtag 5 decades. Okay. Well, good luck, everybody. And don't forget to click subscribe right over here. Also hit that bell so you're notified in your email inbox of when there's a new Whiskey Whistle whiskey review coming out. And lastly, the Patreon account. Get involved. Become a patron at www.patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. And there's a monthly newsletter there for you once you join up. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. Thanks for watching Whiskey Whistle. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to give this video a like and leave a comment down below. Be sure to stay tuned next time to join me, the host of the show, Mark, as I explore more whiskeys with you. Take care now, and we'll see you next time.